So good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Annie has already introduced me. So I'm Emma Buckland, Principal Analyst at STL Partners, and I'll be moderating our session today, which is why platforms are the best way of delivering services. So you can see that we are already making a statement here that platforms are the best way, and I welcome views from the audience, actually, as to whether you also think that's the way. So we'll be looking at the various platforms that have been implemented or thought about in 3 different telcos with our panelists today, which I will introduce now. So we have Campbell McClean, who is Chief Architect at BT. Hello, Campbell.
Hi, how are you?
All good, thank you. We have Djordje Radovic. Djordje is Core Network and Services Director at Telekom Srbija.
Yes, hello to everyone, but unfortunately I have some problem with my video. Okay, now I can start it. Okay.
Hi, Djordje.
Hello to everyone, yeah.
And we have Lasha Tabidze. Lasha is Group Chief for Digital Operations at Veon. So welcome, everybody. We have 45 minutes, and I think we have lots to discuss. So I'll start straight away with my first question, which is going to sort of set the scene a little bit of what we mean with platforms and give concrete examples of what platforms you guys might have in your organization. So my first question is, Telco platform, please show me yours. So what sort of platforms have you already developed in your organization? What platforms are you thinking of? Campbell, are you okay to start us off?
Yes, we're kind of just coming to the end of a process where we're aligning all of our technology to be a set of platforms. We have very clearly defined what our strategic platforms are and what our legacy technologies are and what the migration plan is for that. But effectively, we'll have a set of teams and tribes who provide a platform to the tribes delivering to the end customer. It's about 15 different platforms. We treat network as a platform. Right? Digital, we treat network as a platform, and they would have a set of things that then are exposed. But it's a marketplace where you provide capability that others can use readily and easily.
Okay, and perhaps in terms of the end user, what would you say in your own words is the ultimate goal of the platform, delivering things through a platform, as opposed to how telecom services are currently being delivered, and why a platform?
So we treat everyone as a customer. So the platform treats everyone as a customer. Be that a customer who buys services from BT. We want the customer to be able to utilize any of our capabilities and buy them as and when they need them, or turn them off as and when they don't. So if you go to the airport, you click, you buy roaming for the US. If you're in business and you want to provision a VPN, click, you provision it, leased line. We want to make it very easy internally. We would like the teams who are then taking up the customer through web and app to be easily consumer as service to provision, activate, and bill. That's the approach.
Okay, thank you, Campbell. So I think for that particular question, I would actually like to go around my panelists. So after Campbell, Djordje, perhaps, can you show me your platforms or tell us more about the platforms at Telekom Srbija?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much for your question in this area, because I think that we have to be very, very practical in this field, because, it's a lot of theory all around us. But when we come to some kind of delivery, and of course, I'm operations guy, and that's the reason that this is my angle of approach, for example. So we have some kind of very good strategic approach regarding platforms. But at the beginning, I think that we have to define what the telco platform really is, for example, or should be, I suppose. So I think that I will try to summarize everything that I think about the platform in one sentence, maybe more a little bit complex. But again, I think that the telco platform has to be very unified digital ecosystem in the essence that leverage something that is very special nowadays. I think advanced technologies to deliver a variety of services, telco and non-telco and products, and something that is more important, seamlessly to customer. I think the main answer regarding the platform, why do we need that? It means that we have to deliver some kind of services, complex services to the customer in very reliable and seamless way. So from my point of view, I think that it has to integrate core telco services with something that is value-added service as well. On the other side, we will have third-party applications and partner ecosystem. So when we are talking about the platform, I think that from telco perspective, you need to create some kind of ecosystem end-to-end in order to deliver something very, very, very important as value-added to the customer. Especially when we are talking about my company, because I represented Telekom Srbija, one of the largest telco in this region. We operate in many different markets, many different challenges, of course. And on the other side, we try to launch a lot of in many different segments, some kind of platforms. So based on that, I can say that we have in operations, of course, some kind of IoT platform from our side. We are using a lot of those, how can I say, a lot of those things, a lot of those sensors all around our network. And we have a great cooperation with national power utility company in this area because they have a lot of those mobile devices. So we collect a lot of data from those sensors and try to deliver to the customer side. On the other side, we have another layer of this, meaning that we have some kind of advanced analytics of that. Okay, so when we are talking about the right examples, on the other side, we launch our own multimedia platform middleware, of course, in this multimedia domain, because we are incumbent operator and we offer a lot of different services, quadruple services to our customers. And in that area, we see a lot of opportunity, not only in B2C, but in B2B segment of market. And something that I want to share with you, we started very interesting digital platform in this market. We launched from the scratch digital bank. It was known as MTS Bank, but after that we sold this business to the competitor, for example. But it was a seamless experience for our customers, end-to-end ecosystem where our potential customer base and our existing customer base could do anything that you can imagine in banking sector via this platform from one end to the other end as well. And we are very very proud of that because we learned a lot about the customer experience, customer expectations in that area. So we are moving into many different areas as well. So we do a lot of different segments of our business, and we cover with I suppose I mentioned, for example, 3 of them, but we have a lot of them internal developed as well.
Thank you, Djordje. And you, Lasha? What insights can you give us about the platforms which are being used, or do you want to use at Veon?
Yeah, actually, as you said, even saying that going and using platforms is really not important, but essential to go forward. And platform itself, as Djordje just mentioned, I see this the same way. The platform should enable that huge data which Telekom has is collected and extracted in a very structured manner. And at the same time, for the customer, whether it's enterprise or B2C customer, to have a seamless and really easy access to the information they look for. So a couple of years ago, when we started to create these kind of platforms, then we decided to go forward directly to customer-facing platforms and at the same time to the enterprise platforms. For the customer-facing part, we have 4 financial services platforms up and running in several countries. And I'm speaking now about 50 million plus people using daily our financial services, which is based on the telco infrastructure, but of course enhanced with all the sets and tools which financial services have. We have entertainment platforms, around 70 million people using this in different various countries. We tapped into the e-health in Ukraine, for example. We are the biggest e-health platform serving both B2B. By this, I mean the clinics and over 28,000 doctors, as well as 23 million Ukrainians registered and using this on a daily basis. At the same time, as I mentioned, so when you create the core platforms where you can extract the data and give access to the users on the enterprise part, of course, I am sure like my peers here also use and support enterprises with the platforms like KYC, like financial scoring platforms, geo analytics, video analytics platforms, and most recently, just a year ago, we launched also advertising technology platform, which can be used by the advertising agencies to enrich their data and very easily construct any kind of advertising they want to reach based on geolocation, customer profiling, and other means what they need for their business. So to summarize, approach of the platform, of course, the most important part is that you can connect when you are platform-based business, any partner you like, and you can enrich the customer experience by this. So you have one place, let's name it Telekom ecosystem, but actually this is digital ecosystem where you can connect and where you can develop the products. And at the end of the day, the most important is that by this, you seamlessly enhance the customer experience and have user engagement much higher rather than just separating this by delivering telco separately through the self-service or delivering other services separately.
Thank you, Lasha. So perhaps actually staying with you, I mean, from what you're describing of the platform that you already have, I sort of infer that you already had quite a strong relationship with a particular vertical. So I think you mentioned the finance sector, right? And also the retail sector. So what came first? Did you already have strong platforms, or did you already have strong relationship with those sectors? How did you manage essentially to establish such strong relationship? And I think the point of my question is perhaps a bit more global. I think it's a great idea for telcos to develop platforms, but I would imagine they already need to be quite strong as brand to attract the right traction from the right segment that they want to target with their platform. So it seems that you have achieved that really well at Veon, and I'm really curious to see what came first.
That's a great question, Emma. Like first comes the brand, the trust into the brand, and of course, readiness to use the telecom infrastructure plus the biggest digital distribution power in the market, being telecom in the market for many years. And then, of course, developing the product, not just in a way how to monetize it, but in a way how to really do the digital inclusion, for example, in the financial services, to really narrow the divide for the unbanked population or banked population who simply cannot use overcomplicated financial applications. So first, of course, it's about what you can do on what you already have. By this, I mean the infrastructure, access to the customers, data of the customers' behavior and the interests. And then, of course, you have to build the top-notch platform. So we decided to build it ourselves in 3 of our operations. And in Pakistan, for example, JustCash is already several years like #1 mobile wallet in the market, serving 18 million customers on a daily basis and having around 3% of country GDP transactions into this every day. And of course, like I said, like first comes the brand trust, and that we are ready with the data and platform set, which will be supporting the customer-facing platform to really operate and be delivered in a seamless manner. And then, of course, like creating top-notch product based on customer needs. So that's why, like, I'm always, whenever I speak on any platform, it's always about #1 to look into the customer experience, look into the customer needs. And then going forward, as said, first comes the brand, the trust, and how fast you can deliver this product to the customers. And then, of course, you build on top the top-notch product.
Thank you, Lasha. Djordje, Campbell, is there anything you want to add on that?
Yes, of course. I want to add something. Thank you very much for this question as well, because I cannot more than agree, for example, with Lasha as well in this area. But I have to add something. We are talking about telco's perspective towards some kind of platforms. I think it's completely new. How can I say, a new area of market, for example, for them. On one side, we are talking about a traditional approach, meaning that telco has a really strong infrastructure or something like that, and for example, they have to deliver something. It means some kind of connection, okay, in that area. I think it's vice versa nowadays. This is something that I think that Steve Jobs mentioned, that you need to understand the customer needs and try to create some technology that can support those needs. For example, in this area, I think this is a new approach in a telco segment as well. And I have to be very, very honest with you. I don't know how traditional telcos can deal with that, meaning that there are a lot of challenges in this area. And the main answer to your question, okay, I think that you need to understand the business, you need to understand relationships, you need to understand maybe the power of your brand, and try to offer something completely new. And on the other side, try to develop some kind of infrastructure to support that. From our point of view, because we are operating many different markets, including EU and non-EU countries, when we started some kind of new markets, okay, we decided not to have our own infrastructure. So we started as an MVNO there, especially because we want to deliver some kind of new value-added services via our own platforms, for example. And this is supposed to be, I think, a golden key for our success in those markets as well. On our main market, because we are headquartered in Serbia, we had a different approach because we are incumbent, for example. So we try to struggle with our competition as well in this area. And something that I want to really emphasize here is who are the competitors when we are talking about the telcos. For example, from our point of view, we have our direct competitors, some kind of our different telcos or something like that, because they sell products. They sell products that can compete with ours, for example. On the other side, we as a telco, and in general, I suppose telcos, have some great competition in different areas that we call, for example, experiential competitors, meaning that they sell experiences like, I don't know, WhatsApp or the top players, Disney Plus or something like that. So they can replace our products, for example, in this area. And the third maybe group, I think that it's very important to emphasize as well, those are perpetual competition. For example, cargo, Airbnb, Uber or something like that. So those are your competitors who can change expectations in the market and change expectation to our customers as well. So this is the reason that I think that we need to recognize this niche, that we have to launch as a telcos those digital platforms in order to become, how can I say, our foundation for the future telcos as well. And I think that maybe the most important barrier that we have to overcome is our own mindset. We are talking about telcos.
Yeah, that tends to be a recurring theme.
Yeah.
Campbell, is there anything you want to add from a BT perspective?
I think Lasha made two great points. First one is customer trust. And so everything you provide has to be there as described at the right price point. I think customer trust is essential. As telcos pivot, traditional telcos, as Djordje pointed out, traditional telcos pivot to different markets, and Lasha's experience in the financial services or health, you have to be very trusted in what you do. So the provision of, if your engineer is turning up to connect a fixed line, it has to be right first time every time. So the customer trust and the customer experience, I don't think is dictated by like telco competition in the UK. I think it's dictated by the best experience the customer has, either in person or digitally. So therefore the barrier is very high. So ensuring that the customer experience and the customer journeys have no friction, I think is incredibly important. And it's very difficult to do that without a platform underpinning that.
Thank you. Thank you. Lasha, you mentioned something which, in fact, I wanted to touch upon as one of my questions. You said, I think for certainly one of your platforms or perhaps all your platforms, you decided to develop your platform internally.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just curious to understand, I can imagine what the reason might be, but I would like to hear from you. What was the reason why you decided to build your platform internally? And the reason I'm asking is because I've spoken with other telcos And for some of them, because they were too small, there was no way they were going to build their platform internally, because that would have taken them way too long for what they wanted the platform to achieve in terms of return. So they basically found an off-the-shelf platform, and that did the job for them. So obviously your approach seems to have been different. And I'm just interested in the reason why you made the decision that you did.
Yeah, Emma, like first of all, like we have own platforms, but of course we have the partnerships, because I'm not a believer that either way is just a simple recipe to anything, because like there are markets, there are products where you have to start with the partnership. For example, the entertainment business in one of our markets or two of our markets, like Kazakhstan and Ukraine, we started through the partnership, of course, and did it. But why we did our platforms and why we did these platforms in several markets, like from financial services up to entertainment platform in Bangladesh, or up to a teletainment platform in Uzbekistan, for example, on this way, like 3 years ago, when we moved from just being a telco to digital operator strategy 1440, this is like a strategy, we name it. It means being relevant to the customer every single minute a day, and there are 1,440 minutes a day. That's why where the naming comes from. On this way, we started to create also the tech companies inside the Telekom, which are now completely standalone, 3 huge tech companies in 3 of our markets. And I'm talking here about more than 1,000 people in each of these companies, with data engineers and lots of really tech savvy guys. And this was an important decision. So we grow in the market the competence, we grow competence inside the company, and we create the product on the way. Of course, while creating the financial services platform, which I referred to as an example to Just Cash, but the same I can say about Simply, the neobank we have in Kazakhstan, or Bpool, the financial services we have in Uzbekistan. Of course, on the way, when you create platform, there are some components where you start partnering. For example, our KYC platform was not so advanced enough. So at some stage, we are partnering on the KYC, but at the same time, when you have this kind of a silver bullet in your strategy and you create the technology company, IT company within the organization, these people get the skill set, and they created the KYC platform, which is very important for any financial service, which we now sell to different countries and different organizations. So it was not just a decision it's a matter of money. It was a decision matter of strategically what we want to do in the country. Do we want to really seriously play a game where we want to not just to launch one platform, but create a real technology company where we can make R&Ds and try several products? For example, like I said, in Pakistan, first we started financial services, then we expanded to the entertainment service, and we have Tamasha is the name of the platform, which is #1 homegrown entertainment platform with 13 million users, where they watch cricket, where any kind of sports, and etc. And then we moved forward, and I'm a true believer of brand agnostic approach in telecom applications even. I don't think that self-serve applications should be closed within the telecoms. You can always make it open to everyone, because if there are several ecosystems of several services, why there is not telecom ecosystem where anyone, any customer in the country can buy any product they want, and you build the services on top of this. So to summarize my answer, it was not decision just of a business case, because sometimes it's obvious, let's do faster, go a partnership. But if you look on a long-term, mid-term or long-term perspective, how sustainable this partnership will be and how it will look like after 5-7 years, this is the major question what companies should ask. And then the decision is becoming clearer that there will be some services which you decide to go in based on your strengths of your brand, as I said, strengths and trust to your brand, as well as the customer sentiments and feelings, which we collect throughout decades as a telecom operators. Yeah, we know like what people use, where people go, how people use the data traffic, what is most important. Then you do the customer researches, and then you identify, for example, I want to tap into the financial services and become a real player there, like owning the platform, owning the customer data and going forward, making a bigger strategy, creating a new business vertical, or for example, choose for, I don't know, education, which is, by the way, one of the most important platforms for the future, e-education platform where you start with partnership and then you decide after some years how you go forward. So my answer, once again, it's not a recipe like you go partnership or you go like with your own development. It's a matter of strategic decision, what you want to do for the community in the country you operate.
Yeah, thank you, Lasha. But I think what you just described certainly at the beginning of your answer adds a nice addition to the question we're asking: why platform are the best way of delivering services? Because of course, intuitively you think, okay, it's going to deliver services and bring in revenue because end users are going to consume more. But actually, from what you're saying, you can also, as a telco, develop an expertise and sell that expertise in building platform externally. So that's another source of revenue. Yeah.
And just a small addition to that, just example in numbers, we have as of today, we have more than 110 million digital services users, not SIM card telecom users. We have 160 million plus telecom users, but on top of this, we have 110 million plus digital services users, and 30 million, 30 out of them has never been our SIM card user.
Yeah.
So that's the power of being in platform business and going forward, bringing value to the communities, to the countries and digital economies, and being really in the center of the digital era, like where telcos, by the way, really have this right to be and to play the key role in this ecosystem.
Thank you very much, Lasha. So perhaps going back to Campbell, I'm interested in hearing from your point of view whether you have any evidence in your market in particular of an appetite from the end user to actually consume services through a platform, and perhaps how, as a telco, you test for that.
I think the consumer and it's kind of driven by age. So a 30-year-old consumer doesn't want to talk to a call center, just doesn't want to do it, and therefore the platform and the ease of use and reuse of services, the really frictionless processes for whatever they want to do. Platform is the only way to deliver it. I also agree with Lasha that building our own technology, building our own microservices, building our own platforms, where we're close to the customer, is the way that you can do things fast and very close to the customer. You have to be doing your own platforms. Would we as a telco want to build our own mediation? No, we would want to build our own billing. But when you get up into the customer experience, we want to be building our own stuff. And that's really powerful. If we're building our own microservices, we can tune, add, change in real time using, proper continuous deployment, really slick, really easy, and continuing to add value. Platform is the only way to do that, I think.
Okay. Lasha, I can see that you're nodding, so I don't expect contradiction, but perhaps you will give us another point of view.
No, I just fully agree, because like there is the most important part is customer facing layer, and once again, when I say customer, like, and Campbell underlined, it's like enterprise or B2C or B2B or B2G, it doesn't matter. It means like customer facing platforms are the most important. That's where the power comes. That's where the data comes. That's where the scalability comes. And I fully agree, like starting now to build your own billing or core network, of course, like it will be just like a huge amount of money and no one knows if it's successful. But using our power of the current infrastructure and top of this, our knowledge, plus, of course, like involving new talents and upskilling your teams and creating customer-facing platform based on the knowledge we have. And what is most important, once again, the access we have, because telecoms are the biggest distributors in the world, especially in the digital platform. So I fully agree what Campbell just said. That's why I was nodding. It's like very good explanation. So where we should look into for the future strategic development.
Thank
And
you.
if I can just add, if you get it right, you can weave in your partners very fast. So if you want to bring in a particular small language model for analysis, you can weave it into a platform architecture really quickly. That allows you to exploit AI. If you want to bring a video partner to play, you can weave that in really quickly, but you only do with a highly composable platform architecture.
Thank you. So you've just touched upon AI. We've managed to have, I think, over half an hour of panel. We haven't yet mentioned AI when we haven't yet mentioned API. So that's almost, that's not often these days. That's the case. But perhaps as a corollary to what Lasha has sort of hinted at, I'm just interested in understanding, and we could go to Djordje for that, who seems to obviously have existing and powerful platforms, what you would see as internal barriers that telcos have to overcome in the development of their platforms. And I'm thinking, obviously, there's a sort of technical prerequisite, I would imagine, that the telco needs to have just to be able to technically implement a platform. So I would be interested in understanding a little bit about that. And then perhaps more, and we've touched upon this as well, the sort of people aspect and skills that you have or that you need to acquire. But perhaps if we start on the technical side first, what is the sort of prerequisite for a telco? What stage of transformation do they need to be at in order for platforms to essentially fly?
Yes, of course. You mentioned that we didn't talk about AI. Yes, you're right. But on the other side, we've been thinking all the time about AI because it's impossible not to think in nowadays in this area, for example. And something that I want to clarify as well, because we have some kind of slightly different approach towards telco platforms than Lasha mentioned for Veon, for example, because we have some kind of hybrid approach. So we do something internally and some parts external. And the only reason is that we understand that we have to be very, very fast, very fast, meaning that we have to offer very comprehensive solution to the market in a very short period of time. So in this area, I think that the main obstacle that traditional telcos like we are, for example, have to overcome. I think that we need to understand that we do not need to own something in order to deliver some kind of services, for example, because a lot of traditional telcos talking only about infrastructure. I have to own something, for example, I don't know, my own platform or something like that, and try to deliver something. No, I think that in that way, all the telcos need to be educated in the area of collaboration, for example. So what do we need in this area as well? We start to think how to be more innovative in order to support our brand, because all of us mentioned the power of brand during the session, but I think that you need a lot of time to create some kind of brand awareness, okay, in this area. So to be recognized in the market as someone who is innovative, who is very customer facing, for example, etc. So in this area, we try to invest a lot in this segment of our spin-offs. So we try to invest a lot in some kind of startups owned by many different stakeholders, including our company as well, in order to create some kind of, I suppose, possibly some kind of unicorn in the future. And in this area, we try to focus more on some kind of future-proof telcos. In this segment, I think that there is a room for AI, as you mentioned, because we are using a lot of AI in our platforms in order to create something that a lot of repetitive tasks can be done by AI and try to reduce costs on the other side, of course, as well. We are using AI recommendation tools, for example, in our multimedia platform in order to offer personalized content to our customers. So in this area, I think that when somebody says that content is the king, I think that, yeah, they are right. But on the other side, I think that the context is the queen. So it means that you want to deliver something new to the customer and try to persuade your customer that they need to have this service, I don't know, via your platform or something like that. So the main barriers are those cooperation, meaning that lack of cooperation, for example, in this ecosystem, some kind of legacy systems, because we are incumbent, okay, we have plenty of different legacy systems as well. We have to overcome them as well. On the other side, we are, I suppose all of us are in Europe, we face some kind of EU regulatory hurdles, for example, in this area as well. And on the other side, when we are talking specifically in this for this area of Europe, okay, we established some kind of national AI strategy as well, and I think that we are some kind of front runners in this area. And it helps us a lot as a telcos as well to, how can I say, communicate with government as well in order to create something new in this area. So from my point of view, I think that we need to understand who will be our customers in the future and try to be very, very, very fast in the market. And maybe just to add something for the end of this part of discussion from my side, I think that maybe the main strategy, for example, for any telcos nowadays can be expressed only in one sentence. So you need to be prepared to fail fast, because you need, you need to how can I say, to do a lot of things in many different areas, like those unicorns, as I said, for example. You need to invest a lot in many different areas and try to find a way how to find this niche that can be maybe the main return of investment in the future as well.
Thank you. Well, I think you touched upon one type of barrier, which was the, making sure that the legacy systems can actually support the platform that you want to bring to life. And I suppose that was to some extent the point of my question. I'm just interested in understanding, what sort of level of automation, for instance, do you need in a network to be able to have a platform where, say, an enterprise customer can just order connectivity like that, with a button. So I don't know if maybe Campbell, you can perhaps give us some insights into that. I'm thinking again of this BT Global Fabric, which I think is the services will be sold through a platform. And I think, that particular project needed a certain gestation time before it actually became possible. So I've been interested in understanding a little bit about the integrity of bringing that to market.
Yeah, I think look, it's a question of complexity. So provisioning mobile is an exceptionally simple thing to do, very simple thing to do. Provisioning complex global network to a multinational company where we would have to provision through other partners. So in the US, what could be AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, we have to get to those endpoints where you have a very strong digital understanding of the assets you have in the ground, where the termination is, what the termination is. It has to work end to end. It's actually pretty simple if you have the underlying data to put that together, where you then have to interoperate with other operators to build very large networks specific to a customer. That is more difficult than pushing that button, but it's the digitizing of a lot of asset that's in the ground, a lot of fiber asset and copper asset in the ground, plus all of the termination and all of the connection. That's tricky, but it's eminently achievable. And I think most of the major players are working towards that. So it becomes pushing a button, and that for the last mile, right, you may have to provision something. It may take 3 weeks. You have to get an approval. All of these things are coming together. But that's hard. That is hard work. Yeah.
Thank you, Campbell. And I'm thinking also from you touched upon the billing system in the different contexts, but I'm just curious to see what sort of, if you have a platform, does it mean that you have a fairly modern billing system as well? Or does that particular part of the business had to be streamlined before a platform model can be implemented?
We have done a huge amount of work in the last 3 years. In the last 3 years, we've gone from a set of business application that numbered 2,465 to a count last week of, I think, 1,530 circa. We've taken out a third, and BET has a large complex estate because of acquisition, and we're being pretty ruthless in how we pursue that, and it is paying benefit. And that is to pivot to a set of strategic platforms, but it's an evolution over time.
Mm-hmm.
So we still depend upon legacy technology as we migrate customers and move, but there is no endpoint. Right? There's a target architecture, but if you move 12 months, the target moves 12 months away. I think the things I would say are really important today, really important, are moving to an engineering culture where you engineer your own technology, and learning that and understanding it, and building those skills, not just buying those skills, but building those skills, and then having those skills sitting with the sales, marketing, and service teams. And the sales, marketing, and service teams should be hiring for technical capability as well.
Mm-hmm.
Where you understand the customer, you understand the technology in one room, you can do amazing things really quickly. But I'm not telling anybody anything they don't know. Those engineering skills and business skills in the same space, and investing in that is really important. It's really important. If I look back at my career and I go back kind of 15 years, it was architecture. We were plugging other people's technology together.
Yeah.
That does not work today. And you need experienced engineers, inexperienced engineers, and have a training game plan for that. And you need the same for AI. You need to be training all of your people so they understand AI, how it applies, and how to correctly apply it.
Thanks, Campbell. Very interesting there. Thank you. I'm just checking the time. We've got 6 minutes left. So I perhaps in that time, first would like to invite the audience to ask any question they might have, because unless I'm not using my Q&A box properly, I can't see any question having come through, which is fine, but please, you have time. So do submit your questions. So for those in the audience who might be thinking about developing a new platform and having that conversation internally, at telcos, normally, if you have a new idea, you need to bring in a business case, right? So I'm going to ask you guys about KPIs and evidence. And I think some of the respondents have already given us some figures. So perhaps we'll repeat a little bit those, but I'm just curious to see, do you have any evidence that your platform play has had a positive impact on either your top line or your ARPU or any other metrics? Do you even have an internal system that allows you to say, yeah, the platform play has worked out for us really well?
Yeah, I have. We treat our internal CI/CD platforms as a platform, and we're now starting to get real understanding of both time and quality, and time is cost. So what it costs to produce and what's the quality. So what are the defects in test and what are the defects in production? And what then happen? What impact does that have in the operating and trading day? We're starting to drive much better clarity in what we do at an engineering level and how that impacts. Those numbers are still fairly nascent, and I really wouldn't want to share them because I think we need more longevity at them. But I think if you get your engineering platform, an engineering platform with real integrity, I think you can drive engineering productivity by double digits in percentage terms, which is cost. And I think you can improve your quality by more than that, by learning the lessons, look at the commonality of where the failures are, get that fed back into the system. I think applying AI to building test cases and AI for code augmentation can give you double-digit improvement in productivity and the quality for that time, get the quality improved. Because that kind of the platforms I own, you can see significant, really significant improvement in cost to deliver quality code, and we're starting to see significant improvement there.
Oh, thank you, Campbell. Really interesting.
Emma, I can add maybe something regarding this topic as well, okay, from our side, because we launched this multimedia platform, as I already mentioned. We see a huge potential and huge, how can I say, huge revenues, for example, uptick in upsell, meaning that for example we create some kind of environment, some kind of ecosystem where our customers can use, for example, I don't know, remote control and try to upgrade their own profile, for example. So we see that really clearly, and something that is very important to us as well, especially those new markets that we launched without our infrastructure, for example, as MVNO. We see that they recognize us not only as connectivity provider, for example, like telcos really are, but some kind of solution providers as well. And we think that this is the right consequence, for example, of launching those platforms in many different fields. But yes, of course, we have internally developed metrics that tell us that we are on the good track as well.
So sorry, Djordje, what metrics would that be typically? Can you share that with us?
Yes, we have a strange upsell in this area. So we have a lot of customer base in those box services. So we see that, for example, I don't know, if our customer had only internet access via us, for example, now he has not only internet but TV service as well, fixed service as well, and those. So we started to play some kind of like an OTT player in this field as well.
Okay, thank you. And Lasha, perhaps I think we've got 1 more minute, so it would be lovely to hear your
yes, of course. Yes, we have KPIs, and these KPIs we also announce publicly during earnings release or capital markets days. So what we see is 3 times higher ARPUs and 2 times less churn. We even have the specific name for the customers who use Telekom plus our services, what we connect. This is multi-play customers, and by definition, we see the increase in the revenues in the users. Nowadays, we have reached already around 40% of multi-play customers in total base who generate already around 70% plus of the revenues. And we also track the pure, so let's name digital and platform revenues without this upside, what I just spoke about, and it's already 10% of the group revenues. And I'm talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. So we track, we see, we believe in this, and we execute around this, and we always report this to the outside world.
Excellent. Well, that allows us to finish on a very positive note. Thank you very much, Lasha. Thank you very much, Djordje, and thank you very much, Campbell.